I've come to Burnley today to meet John Connelly, that flying winger who won a league championship medal with this great old club in 1959-60. And what's more, another one with Manchester United in 1964-65, when he played on the opposite wing to George Best. John also won 20 caps for England, and the last of those was in the World Cup finals of 1966 against Uruguay at Wembley. John Connelly is now in his 60s, still living in Burnley. He's a part of the proud footballing traditions of this traditional football town. Indeed, his career is bound up in these parts: Burnley, Manchester United, and then later in his footballing life to Blackburn Rovers and Bury, chalking up over 100 games for each of these two clubs. Let's start with a game against Uruguay in the 1966 World Cup finals, and it really wasn't 0-0 draw, the best of starts for England.
No, not really, no. It was really one that, when I think back about, I'm sure, I think if I hadn't played in the first game, because you can know when you're on song, you're playing well, and you don't need the papers or the media or anybody to tell you, you know yourself when you're buzzing a bit. And on the pre-season tour before the World Cup, I played in virtually all the games and got a few goals, and I was really, you know, feeling confident, quite good. But the last game before we came back from the tour, we played against Poland, and Alf decided to change the team, which you never questioned, and he put Martin Peters in. Left me out, put Martin in, and I thought, gracious, like, you know, it was a bit of a choker for me, but that's how football is. Anyhow, I was roommates with Roger Hunt, and after the match, they had a great result. The one team played brilliant. And I thought, that's it. Could be after fight for my place to get in the World Cup, the start of the game. So Roger said, I'll bet you're in. You know, we've been roommates, you get quite close to each other, you know. And yeah, when the team was announced, when we got back after the tour, we had a few weeks off, then we got to the training. The first match, I was in against Uruguay. And it was such a drab game. They never came out at all. It's the first time we've ever experienced really tight defences like that, you know, and there was and this formation we did, 4-3-3, which suited my style really, but there was nowhere to run. There was no channels because they did mark zones, and you were just running into people and players, and we just couldn't break them down. If the chances did fall, I think a couple did fall, well, not sitters, but slight chances, and Greavesy got to the byline at one side, and I just managed to get in front of the fella, clipped it, side-footed it round, and hit the outside of the upright and went for a goal kick, which was, I still feel, you know, if that would have gone in. And also, I must have been desperate in the end, because I think he out-jumped Jackie Charlton with an header, like, you know. I don't think Jack jumped, though. And I hit the top of the crossbar, and it went over, and after that, it's all...
So what did Alf say, Alf Ramsey say to you after that, then?
Well, he didn't ever say anything really, didn't Alf? We had the after the match, he come round and said, like, you know, well, it's not the best of starts, but they were jumping around like they'd won the World Cup, you know, with Uruguay, because it was a great result for them coming and playing against our own pitch, like, you know. But still, with having them matches to play, I still thought, well, you never know, I might, you know, because then you start reading the press, we've got to change the team, and I felt there was such a good squad that he would try to, you know, get a winning formula, which he had to do, really, you know. And of course, when he announced the team, he announced it, and of course I was left out, and Little Bally were left out as well. I was gutted, to say the least, really.
Alan Ball was left out, I'd forgotten
Alan
that.
Ball, yes, it was myself and Alan Ball, yeah, Little Bally, yeah. And we were both gutted, and of course we both got together and mumbled a bit, and but Alf never announced anything, like, you know, never came to you. But afterwards, when we were going to the training ground, he come and sat with me, and I don't know whether he sat with Alan, I probably did do as well. And he said, "What do you feel?" Well, I said, to be honest, I feel sick. I said, but in all fairness, you've always been very, very fair with me, which he had, really, you know, he's a great manager, fantastic fella as well. And I said, you've always been very, very fair with me. And his words were, I'm not being fair with you now. He said, because if if we'd have come away with the result, I would not have changed the team. That was obviously between him and I, and I felt so gutted really, because I felt if I hadn't played in the first game, I think I'd have been on the on the roll, because it was a great squad to play.
Yes.
I mean, I've been lucky in myself. I played at this club here, Burnley Football Club, fabulous setup, a dream setup really, you know, and they taught me all about discipline, everything to do with the game, tactics, everything. It was a brilliant club, brilliant players, and to go to United, that was a great setup as well, great set of players, and then the English squad. So really, I've played in three great squads, and I always count myself very lucky, you know.
But now, when you look at those glorious moments in that final of 1966, do you ever stop and think to yourself, that could have been me, you know?
Yeah, very often. The biggest disappointment for me was not getting a medal, really. You know, I mean, they did give us the £1,000 for winning the World Cup, and we got taxed on it, and then I think Bobby Moore, right, and Jeff tried to get it claimed back, and they sold the other lads jumped in then. But apart from not being involved in it, we didn't get the medal either, and people were living around Burnley, which I've always lived virtually all my life, apart from me early teens. People come in now and say, well, you know, what's your World Cup medal like? And I said, well, I just didn't get one, you know. I have the cap, obviously, you know, that you get a cap when you play in the World Cup, and I've got that. When
you think about it, you've mentioned it, £1,000 for winning the World Cup as a bonus. I don't know what today's players would think of that, do you?
I say good luck to them, really. It's wonderful that in our day the game was different. It was more of a sport. Now it's big business. They have all the players have these agents working for them, which, in all fairness, they probably wouldn't be able to do it themselves. Not the same as we did, because you just don't know what's happening half the time. But now you see the players as they're wagging the tail now, like, you know. So I think it's probably gone a little bit too much. But
you were a boy from St Helens. How did you come to Burnley in the first place?
Well, life's about luck, isn't it, really? You know, and as I say, I think I was a little bit unlucky in the World Cup, the first match. Yeah. But the lucky side of me was when I went to play for St Helens Town, and it was only my second game for them, and we were playing at Rolls Royce over at Barnoldswick here, and I thought we were in Europe. I thought I'd never heard of Barnoldswick, but I go over to play at against Rolls Royce at Barnoldswick, and Burnley had a scout there, but he wasn't going to watch me. He was going to watch this lad that I took his place, because he'd been transferred to Stockport County, this Mickey Davok, and of course they caught on to me and come back to the club and reported to Alan Brown that there's a young lad played on the left wing, or whatever, inside left I played actually, and on the Tuesday when we got back to St Helens Town, when we trained on the Tuesday, Alan Brown was there with this big car. And
who was then the Burnley manager?
Burnley manager.
And a good one too.
A brilliant man, yes. As I say, I've been very fortunate. I've played under some great managers. And of course, Alan came and had talks with, and I didn't know nothing about this at all. And we were training, they just shouted me over to tell me to get changed, and next minute I'm sat in Alan Brown's car. I think it's the first car I'd ever sat in my life. Is it? Because we come from a mining village, but I mean, I think there was only one bloke in the village had a car, really, you know. But so that's the lucky side of football, you know, there was somebody there.
And you did come to a club with a great setup here, with some great players as well. You've mentioned Jimmy McElroy, and Jimmy Adamson, and Adam Blacklaw, the goalkeeper.
You can go on
Ray Pointer,
Jimmy Robson,
Brian Miller.
Yeah, you can go on that, and two great full-backs as well in John Angus and Alec Elder, really, you know. It's and when I first came at 16, I went down to Gorthop, and I seen all these players that they were like a midget forward line then, because they were like I think it was Dougie Newlands, Jimmy Mack, Peter Mackay, Albert Cheeseborough, and Brian Pilkington. I don't think there was one taller than 5'8", really, you know. So it suited all our styles, because everything was played on the ground, and Alan Brown had this way of playing, you know, and they played it in the first team, the system, the second team, and it worked right down to the Colts, really, you know, and
Yes.
it just taught you so. They just taught you so much about the game itself, not just the game, the discipline of the game, and
That's so important,
how to get
John,
on
isn't
with.
it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So important.
Yeah.
And in that championship season, I mean, who were the sides that were vying for that championship?
Wolves were the one, and that we. It went to the last game actually, and unfortunately for me again, another bit of bad luck. Seems we haven't got bad luck,
Ups and downs, isn't it?
I missed the last either 4 or 5 games because I did my cartilage in against I think it was Leicester City, and I missed the last 4 games. Well, my deputy that came in was Trevor Meredith, and
Right.
what a great story he's got, because he got the winning goal at Man City to clinch the championship.
The last day of the season.
The last match, it was the last match, yeah. It was, and Wolves had already won the cup, and they were sitting in the stand. Was Stan Cullis, another great character, and he sat in the stand. Think, you know, if we get beat by City and Dennis Law's playing, so Dennis doesn't give nothing away, does he, really? And of course, Brian Pilkington got 1 goal, the winger, little winger, and Trevor Meredith, the winger, he got the other goal and the winner. So we came away with the championship. But I tried to listen to it on my hospital bed, because I'd had my cartilage out by then, and I was listening to this match, and it was horrendous, because I mean it was really touch and go, you know.
Yes.
What another. Lovely memory.
I mean, that was great for the town of Burnley, wasn't it?
Oh,
I mean,
brilliant,
absolutely
brilliant.
wonderful for
Yeah,
them.
I mean, I know people say like you're fanning a bit when you say things, but they're a fabulous crowd. I mean, it's proved it now over this last period of time. They've not had a lot to shout about this last period, and yet if you look at the gates, they'll still get the top gates in the division they're playing. Yes. They'll take a tremendous crowd away from home for them to keep going, yes. And they've not had a lot to shout of. Up to the press now this season. Now it's looking very promising. We're joint top, and now I'm sure if we can stay up there, the gate will be it'll go better and better.
So we've heard about some great times at Burnley, but now it's time to move on to Manchester United. How did that come about?
Well, as it's known at Burnley, when they always had lads coming through, and by this time there was quite a few young ones coming through, and obviously I was told afterwards that Matt Busby had made a bid for me before, and you only learn this after the event, really, you know, and obviously Burnley probably decided that they could afford to let me go, which they did the same with Jimmy as well, and bring the younger lads along and do.
Because it was a bit of an academy here at that time.
That's
wasn't
right,
it,
that's
Burnley?
right,
I mean,
yes.
they had the best youth scheme probably of anywhere in the league.
Brilliant, yeah, brilliant. And as I say, they taught you learnt all your trade from the Colts, the B team, the A team, working through the ranks, you know, and it was a brilliant setup. And when it came, it couldn't have been a better move for me, virtually, because I mean.
What did Matt say to
club.
you?
He just said he thought I could do a good job for him, and you know, he was short of a raiding winger, you know, and I'm not sure I could, you know, I'd settle in there and everything, you know, which was it was pretty fair, wasn't Matt? He wasn't bad. I did fall out with him in the end, but
Did you? How was that?
But well,
because you were only there, what, two,
yes,
3 years?
I had
weren't you?
a bit of a bust up with him, but I never. It was all over, and
I mean,
but
was
I had
that
to
over
get
where he
away.
was playing you, or something
Well,
like that?
one or two things happened, and I wasn't too happy about, you know, but it's our personal life as well, really, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a bit unlucky there. It was just before the World Cup, actually. My wife and I, she was expecting, and we had a stillborn baby, you know, and I think it really stemmed from that, because I mean I never got it upset the issue, really, you know, and
Yes.
in fact I pulled out of an international game, and it was one of them things that it stayed up here with me, you know, and I never.
So there you are at Old Trafford, and in another great side, really, with the likes of Law and Best and Charlton, Crerand, and all the rest.
fantastic setup. Yeah, same again from United, working from the back forward. I mean, they did tremendous. Yeah, like Billy Foulkes, two great fullbacks, Shea Brennan and Tony Dunn. And you go off back lines, and then you've got your Nobby. I mean, really, you couldn't have a better player at club level and international level when you think you can give him a job to do, and Nobby would do it, and do it thoroughly, and let's say your forward line.
I mean, he was such a mild guy off the field.
That's right.
Nobby,
that's
wasn't
right.
He? I mean, it's extraordinary.
It's when he
on the field, he was a demon.
It was when he took them teeth out, weren't it? Yeah. Put his eyes in and his contacts in, and that he became. But he was when you're playing with players like that, and it was a great team. They're great to play with. I mean, we always knew you were going to score goals all the way along the line. I think in our first season, I think I got about, I'm not sure, 14 or 15 goals, and of course Dennis and Nerd they're going to get a load, and Bobby's not going to be far behind, is he? Like,
and George Best might have a say.
George Best, yeah, I'm going to say it.
How did you get on with him? How did you get on with him, sort of off the field and on the field?
Well, he was only a young lad then, was George. I mean, he obviously knocked about with all, your David Sandler. Talking about the younger lads, he would only be. When I was there, he was
17,
18, yeah. And the lads, the lads used to look after me, because this is when he started becoming a little bit popular, as you might say. Yes. But it was good. It was good to play with. It was good for me because we could switch wings as well, and I like to switching about. You see, I mean, to me, if you're switching about, it might confuse us a bit, but it certainly might confuse the fullbacks as well.
Yes. Yes. And then leaving Manchester United, a whole new career then at Blackburn Rovers.
That's right. I went to Blackburn, which was also a shock, because really, when you played for Burnley, you really just don't want to know about Blackburn.
Just down the road.
Yeah. In fact, I've got all the pictures in the shop, and I've got one up at Blackburn. I have to put a sheet over it when they come in. with the shop being in Burnley, you see, or in the Burnley area.
But you played over 100 games there for them.
Yes, it was very enjoyable. I mean, it was. We never achieved anything. It was one of them things. We had the players, but
Who were the leading lights there, John, at that time?
Well, Brian Douglas was still there, with Brian and Ronnie Clayton, and Barry Hall, myself, Mickey Ferguson. We had on paper quite a good team, really, but we never.
And your manager then would have been?
Well, when I went, it was Jack Marshall, wonderful fella was Jack, yeah. And then Eddie Quigley took over my last few years there, I felt we could have achieved there, but we didn't do, for some reason or other.
No disrespect to Blackburn Rovers, of course, John, but once you've played for Manchester United, it must be very hard to go and play anywhere after that.
That's right. It is. Well, obviously, when you leave. When I left Burnley, really, I was a little bit like that, because Burnley's was a big setup. I mean, we always stopped in the best hotels, and we always got paid good money, which we thought was good money, which was good money really in our day. And when we had all the best treatment and whatever. If anything was wrong with you, the specialists were there. Yes, we. Very lucky.
But
so when I left Burnley, I was a bit iffy, but when I went to United, obviously, that's a big setup as well, really, and even more so now. I think it's even gone bigger still, hasn't it, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And after that, you went to Bury, another great little club.
Yeah, it's all bees, isn't it, like, about the men's. Yeah, Bury, yes. Well, when at Blackburn, it was when the contracts were up, they either had to offer you whatever money they did, and if you didn't accept, they had to give you free transfer, which worked out well for me really, because it gave me a chance then to negotiate with any club really, and I think Oldham Athletic came in and Bury came in, and I was, by this time I was getting near the age where I thought, well, I can get another couple of years, because I did love it. I mean, I wanted to carry on playing until I stopped enjoying it, and I went to had a talk with the chairman then, Bill Allen, over at Bury, and another good man. I got on well with Bill Allen, and I took him up and I got a couple of years contract, and it was great. It was absolutely fabulous. Really, I seemed to get a new lease of life. I got among the goals again. I started scoring goals, not missing them, scoring them. So it's quite good, really. You know. Yeah.
Okay, tell us about the fish and chip shop. How long have you had this now?
I've been in about 26 years. I think I'm going to like it. I think it's.
Yeah,
I think it will take to it, yeah.
You're getting the hang of it.
And all my family's trying to make me get rid of it, and I enjoy it. So I really do enjoy it, and it's like talking to you after years. It's lovely. It's lovely to chat to people, and I enjoy that part of. In fact, sometimes I get played out with because I end up chatting and I haven't got the stuff in the pans and everybody's waiting. Then you see, you know, but that's why I enjoy it.
Is there anything in the shop that says John Connelly or not?
The name?
Yeah.
It's Connelly's place. Yeah, that's
right.
Which I never thought that up. My wife thought that up. I can't take credit for that.
Yeah.
But I have quite a bit of memorabilia with all the teams I've played for, and it causes quite a bit of comment and whatever, you know, and people are coming in. We have the big Wembley picture when we played at Wembley against Tottenham, the
1962,
yeah,
which was, I think, the centenary of the FA, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So it's quite good. I quite enjoy it, really. You know, I've quite a good life, really. I wouldn't grumble.
No, you wouldn't. As you say, you've got a good life, and you say you've got a smashing family.
Fabulous family. Yeah. I've got three
Your
grandchildren.
grandfather three times,
and one on the way and all. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, I count myself very, very lucky, really, that things have gone so well for me, really, in the game, and on top of that, as I say, we have these. In fact, we had a World Cup reunion in July. Went over to Mottram and played golf, and we had an absolute. All the wives went as well, and I think they ended up with 14 out of the 22, which is quite good because obviously some, as you get a little bit older, things crop up, and one or two cried off. But it was a fabulous get together, really good do. The wives loved it. They went shopping, so. Yes. I don't know whether they spent anything, like they would do now.
But the more I talk to players of your era, I must say that there is a great feeling of contentment amongst them all. That, and I don't think they're just saying it. I don't regret anything, and I don't regret the fact that I'm not in the big money now.
No. I don't think you can look back. I think if you do, you're going to torment yourself a bit. Yeah, but you've got to think. I look on the positive side, and I'm looking. My next object now is. My next grandchild. It's wonderful. Yeah, it's my middle daughter. She's due in this next month. So another lovely thing to look forward to. Which is you can't buy them sort of things, can you? Really? This is life, isn't it?
John, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.